Is social skills a necessity in the mechanical engineering work field? All right, these are actually two questions that are related to one another. I'm going to read them back to back and then I'm going to respond to them because this is a pretty common question. All right, first one goes, is social skills a necessity in the mechanical engineering work field? I like to keep to myself mostly and hate interacting with others unless I have to. I can do it, but I just prefer not to. Even in certain groups, I do most of the talking. I usually can be more laid back as I get to know the other person. So I was wondering if I should go to mechanical engineering or maybe I should just end up taking computer science engineering. And they go on to thank everybody for the replies. The next person goes, as someone with social anxiety, is it a bad idea to pursue a career in electrical engineering? As the title says, I have social anxiety. Basically, I don't do well socially. I've had a lot of jobs in my life, and I've been getting through purely on my work ethic. Would this be enough for this industry? I'm taking some high school upgrading course right now, and I'm not sure if it'd be the right choice because of my social anxiety. Anything that helps. Thank you for reading. Okay, for engineering, do you need to be a social butterfly that just thrives on human interaction, like a salesperson or like the person that's at the front desk as a receptionist? Or do you need to be a social butterfly to be an engineer? No. Do you have to function socially and be a effective communicator to be successful as an engineer? Yes. So what I would say is don't go into engineering or even computer science. Same thing applies to computer science, by the way. There are certain people that can just go into a black box and code. That is the exception, not the norm, in my opinion. Those are like people that are like just super rock stars that are experts at a super thing. If you want to get into an entry level career and then progress, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to explain your ideas, justify the reasons why you do something. You have to be able to collaborate in teams. You have to be able to, when you have a problem, approach somebody else and have talk to them and talk them through your problem and get their help. You can't just sit in a corner and just struggle through things. That's not how you become a super successful engineer. So, is engineering a highly social field? I'd say it's as highly social as any other professional working environment is. Your communication skills will get you somewhere. So, if you have social anxiety, I would first of all, I'm sorry that you're going through that, but I would maybe work with a therapist and help that work through the acknowledging that you do have social anxiety and trying to work through that and overcome that. If you have concerns about your ability to speak, I'm a huge advocate for Toastmasters, not just for the fact that you can work on prepared speeches and help being a formal presenter, but Toastmasters has this thing called table topics, where every single meeting you get asked like an elevator pitch style question, a random question, and you have 1 to 2 minutes to try to respond to it. It's great for practicing your interviews. It's also great for just practicing talking in front of people, great for thinking on the spot. If you really are nervous about your speaking skills, definitely consider joining a Toastmasters club. But yeah, I mean, it, I get the concern. I get the concern from people, and a lot of people that are really good at science and math. They think they can gravitate towards some STEM field, and they don't have to talk to people. But engineering is highly collaborative. Engineering is going to involve you, especially if you're working on a project that has bunches of different disciplines of engineering, then you may have a project manager and you may be interfacing with tons of different engineers with all different kinds of backgrounds, and you're going to be talking to them. Maybe the civil engineer did something that affects the structure, and they change the foundation that affects the structure, and then, or maybe the mechanical engineer, they spec a piece of equipment that weighs a certain amount, so then that affects the structure and affects the foundation that you put under that equipment, and then maybe the piping team decides to reroute a piece of pipe, and then now the electrical engineers have to reroute the way that they run their conduit. I mean, all the different disciplines impact one another when you're working on cross-discipline projects, and even within your team, you're going to be a part of a team of engineers, and you're going to have to communicate well with them. In addition, if you want to experience career progression, you may have to either grow up as an SME. And when you become an SME, that means that you are able to really effectively communicate your ideas. And even if you're not an SME, if you want to become a manager, obviously there's communication that goes along with that. So, can you have a career in engineering with social anxiety? I guess, but your career prospects will improve as in any other field there is, the better that you're able to communicate your ideas and advocate for yourself. So I would just start working on your social anxiety now. And I know that's, you're like, who's this guy saying just work on your social anxiety? I'm not an expert on social anxiety, but I do know people that have been afraid of speaking, and I do know people that have been afraid about talking in front of large groups of people, and then they've worked on it and they got better at it. So there's things that you can do to help improve yourself, and you recognize it. That's step one, and now it's working to help overcome it.
I just made a pilot, then they threw me on the stations. Nah, I'm not complaining, nah, I'm not complaining. My thoughts get complicated, I cannot explain in lameness. Never losing focus because I ain't chasing payments. Still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.